Logic 0, example 15.1, a valid inference of logical equivalence. We will have problems that present us with something like this, where there are two colons in the symbolic configuration. And when we have two colons, it indicates the claim that the left-hand statement is logically equivalent to the right-hand statement. Logical equivalence can only relate individual propositions, a left-hand proposition or right-hand proposition. What it's claiming is that under every interpretation of these statements, they have the same truth value. So they match in truth value under every interpretation. This is similar to material equivalence, but it's operating at a level of logic where there's a logical inference here, and the notion of validity comes into play. All right. So we are going to have this sort of setup. We're going to copy over the values of A, values of B, B. We're going to do the dominant truth values, okay, and each colon gets an underscore, and the negation is going to get a space, so I'm just going to copy all that down. Now I'm lined up with the A, and I can copy over those truth values and then negate them, okay, and skip disjunction, do the values of B, false, true is true, false, 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 true, and true. So, in simple terms, we just want to see if the truth values match for every interpretation. And they do in this first interpretation. And they also match in the second interpretation, okay? And third interpretation, they match. And in the fourth interpretation, they match. So these are logically equivalent. We've checked every possible interpretation, and under every possible interpretation, they have the same truth value. Now, another way of looking at logical equivalence is that it is a bidirectional claim of logical consequence. So it goes both directions. It's saying under every interpretation where the left-hand statement is true, the right-hand statement is true, and also under every interpretation where the right-hand statement is true, the left-hand statement is also true. So it's like validity going both ways, with first the left-hand statement being the premise and the right-hand statement being the conclusion, and then the opposite way where the right-hand statement is the premise and the left-hand statement is the conclusion. And that's the understanding of logical equivalence that we are following in the truth table procedure. So we look to see, okay, here's where the premise is true. Is the conclusion true? Oh yeah, and also if we think of this as the premise, then the conclusion is true. Okay, so we have affirmative. We give that a percent sign. False, not significant going that direction, not significant going that direction. Okay, so that's not a significant row. This is a significant row and going both ways. It checks out for that sort of bidirectional validity. And also in the fourth interpretation, it checks out. Okay, so percent sign. So we're going to say that this is valid. It's valid in both directions.